Welcome, everybody, to the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast, episode number 189. And coming up on this one, the Leafs go into Long Island with a 4-game winning streak on the line, and they lose 4-3 in OT. We're going to look at Auston Matthews, not only going down as the greatest goal scorer in Leaf history, but maybe the greatest goal scorer in NHL history. That's a hot take, I guess. What do the Leafs need to add to be successful in the playoffs? All this and more coming up on episode 189 of the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast.
Star Wars night on Long Island. The Leafs blow a 3-1 lead. Lou Lamoriello, he says, "Leafs fans, I am your father." Good old Lou, eh? Let's hit the intro.
Tavares coming out, sends it in a goal. They score! They score! Holy mackerel, they score! The Leafs have won it! They're going to the second round! Do you believe this? Holy mackerel!
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. I'm Chad.
I'm Dale.
Don't forget to follow us on social media at the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Tip In Podcast, TikTok, Tip In Pod, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's called X, but everyone still fucking calls it Twitter.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Not on there, never have been, never will be. So,
Dale, I got to ask you something. What year did John Tavares sign in Toronto?
was it 2000 and I don't even know. When was it? 18?
Well, he's got 1 year left on a 7-year deal. So he's been here 6 years.
6 years. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Why
they'll
do they
never
still
stop.
boo
No, never going to stop.
that when he's in New York?
Just, they don't
Like, get over it, man.
sour grapes, man. They don't like how it ended. Like, they just don't like it. I can appreciate that. Like,
I guess, but
I can appreciate the fandom being like, you bailed on us, so fuck you. Even though the fact that like he went home and like they can't see that aspect of it. But, if Austin decided to split to Arizona, sour grapes on my behalf, 100%. Like, I don't give
even
a fuck.
after not now that he's going to spend the majority of his career here.
If he still left, I'd still be like, what are you doing, man? You're choosing them over, like, at least the Leafs are like I don't know. Yeah, I know what you're saying, man. But like, I don't think it'll ever stop. As long as he plays fucking hockey, as long as he goes back there,
He'll get booed every time he goes to Long Island.
100% every time. It's never going to stop.
I get it. I see your point. I guess it's kind of like the Raptors. Like, we booed Vince Carter for a long time.
Yeah,
a long time.
They kissed and made up towards the end. Vince almost came back towards the end, but didn't happen. JT will never return to Long Island. But anyway, hey, man, is what it is. It's all good. Doesn't bother me that much. But blowing a 3-1 lead does bother me. I don't love that, man. I don't love that they had this game. I shouldn't even say they had this game, like a 3-1 lead, but it was back and forth like all night. Like, it was a pretty good hockey game, actually. But I don't love the fact that they blew a 3-1 lead here. Like, did they get a point? Sure. Like, at least the point streak continues. But I don't know. You got to find a way to bury this. And, man, did it end quickly in overtime, eh? Like, lickety split, just like that. Banana split.
Nothing really happened. I mean, they had the puck for maybe 10 seconds total, and that was
No, not a great play by McCabe, and it was just in the back of the net, and that was it. But anyway, hey, guess what, though? I'm going to be mainly positive here. Mainly positive. They had just one. They just won 4. I don't know exactly where you want to go here, but like, not going to go nuts here. Matthews, incredible. Going to spend a lot of time on him. 4-game winning streak going in, and they still got a point even though they lost. So not the end of the world here. Sky's not falling. Not by a long shot. So it's all good. And man, like, things are just heating up now. Like, we're going into the weekend against Colorado. I can't wait for that game. And then Detroit, whatever. But then next week, man, when we start rolling into like Edmonton, Winnipeg, we got coming up twice against the Jets. I think we got Vancouver coming up. Like, I can't wait for those games to see how the Leafs match up against, well, the Jets and the Canucks, the top 2 teams in the league. And Colorado is cooking right around there too. So, man, I just can't wait to see how they match up against the best teams in the West. Like, are you not looking forward to those games?
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be something, right?
Yeah, I mean, after the California trip, I mean, the LA game was good, but then you had Anaheim and back-to-back with San Jose, and then you go into Long Island. Like, it's going to be great to put yourself up against the best teams some of the best teams in the league. I can't wait.
The best teams in the league.
And we may see Samsonov.
No, I don't think so. So let's go there first. Like, what the fuck was this about, man? Like, what? Okay. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but I was absolutely floored when I heard that they recalled him. But now they're saying, like, well, they wanted to get Hill to be a game on Friday night or something like that, and they're going to send Samsonov back down, and I think they're going to call Hill to be back up. Like, I don't know. Is that kind of what the message you got today? Basically, like, Sammy's probably not going to play the Detroit game. Like, it's going to be Hill to be probably.
Yeah, it kind of
or maybe Jones will just end up playing both again. Who knows?
It kind of sounded that way. They lean towards they need to get Hill to be a game. Like, even if it's in the AHL, like, he can't just sit on the bench for 2-3 weeks. They got to play him.
Fair,
but I don't know. At the same time, they were kind of talking like Samsonov might be back.
That would be a gigantic mistake. Like, what are you doing? Like, this guy, he didn't even play a game with the Marlies. Like,
can you play him?
I can't see how you do, because
what if the whole Jack Campbell thing happens? What if
you mean can you play him with the Marlies? I thought you meant can you play him again with the Leafs?
Well, you can't. I wouldn't play him again with the Leafs. But do you think they might be thinking, God, if we put him in the AHL and he gets lit up?
Okay, but at least
the Toronto media is going to eat him alive.
Okay, fair, but at least that's not hurting the big club. You put him in on Sunday against Detroit, and he gets lit up again. This guy's career's over. It's over.
I know, but it seems like Keefe doesn't want to play Hildeby. You had your chance. I mean, Tuesday night was the night to do it.
Someone else has to play net here eventually.
I know. We got a back-to-back coming up on the weekend. Someone else has got to play net. Like, it was just weird. The messaging about Samsonov, it came across just like you said. Oh, it sounded like we're calling him up just so Hildeby can go down and get some ice time. But then you're like, well, why hasn't Hildeby played yet? Like, why didn't he play again Tuesday against the Sharks? If you can't beat the Sharks with an AHL goalie in the net, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and they would have easily on Tuesday night. Here's how I look at this, man. Like, there's no future in Toronto for Ilya Samsonov. There's not. It's over. After this season, it's done. There's nothing, in my opinion, he can do it's over. Like, they gave him the 1-year deal, and thank God it was only a 1-year deal. This is it. He's done. So why would you not, try to get him going again? Maybe, because you might potentially need him. Like, I can understand that aspect of it, but I don't believe there's a future in Toronto for this guy. So why not see what Hildeby has? See what Hildeby can give you in a game or two, because he's a potential guy that could be around in the future.
Don't you think that window passed?
No, I don't think so.
I just don't understand the thinking of why you didn't play him in the San Jose game.
I hear you.
Either the one in San Jose or the one in Toronto. But now you're potentially going to throw him to Detroit on Sunday.
I don't think he's going to play, Chad. I think he's going to get sent. I think Hildeby will
play.
Well,
who's going to play the back-to-back?
I think Hildeby will. I think Hildeby will play on Friday. Samsonov will get sent back down. Hildeby will be called back up. Jones will play Saturday, and Hildeby plays against Detroit on
That's what I'm saying.
Sunday. That's what I think happens. I've been wrong many times before. Maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was saying, like, why would that be his first game? Like, why did you not give him one of the San Jose games?
I hear you.
Why were you so afraid to play him?
Yeah, I hear you.
What's Keefe got going on that he doesn't want to play this kid?
I don't know. I don't know how many games the Marlies play this weekend, but it'll probably be at least a couple, Friday and Sunday or something like that. Like, you got to get Samsonov down there to play. Like, it's not. I don't know. We'll see. Like I just said, no future in Toronto for Samsonov. Hildeby, potentially there is. The guy's a monster, like 6'7" or like crazy. Like, let's see what this kid can do. Like, put him in there. He can't possibly be worse than what Samsonov has given you. So anyway, we'll see how that all shakes down.
I just wish they had have already done that.
I agree. I think now is the time on Sunday. Like, it's got to be. Like, you got to play him Sunday.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? We'll see. Anyway, so some things I'm going to go to Matthews in a second here, but I'm going to start with the fourth line, Chad. McMahon, we were talking about our boy, Bobby McMahon on the last podcast. We brought him up for a little bit, how we were really liking what we've seen there. And clearly Sheldon's liking what he's seeing too, because Robertson, even though he played okay the last game, scored a goal. Gregor was out with an illness, so Gregor's ready to go. Who comes out of the lineup? Robertson again. Not taking McMahon out. Keith is liking what he's seeing from Bobby McMahon, and so am I. The fourth line, but specifically the wingers, McMahon and Gregor, great speed, man.
Yeah.
And I guess here's like, I'm going to get into later about like the playoff situation and like what you think they need to add. I want to ask you specifically that, but just right now, would you be comfortable starting the playoffs with the fourth line of Kampf, Gregor, and McMahon?
Yeah.
Are you seeing what I'm seeing in there? I'm really liking the look of those three guys. And I'm completely forgetting about Ryan Reeves. I forgot he was still even in the mix here. But Kampf, Gregor, and McMahon, what do you think of the fourth line? Would you be comfortable with that to start the playoffs?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be comfortable with that starting the playoffs. I think tonight against the Islanders was probably one of the best games I've seen the fourth line play. They were buzzing out there. They were one of the best lines on the team tonight. Like, yeah, I would totally be comfortable. I said in the last podcast, I think Bobby McMahon's game will translate well into the playoffs.
Yep, I think so. I
really like Gregor. Gregor's been such a great surprise this year.
Yeah,
like
big time.
We talked about him signing when he signed the PTO, and we're like, oh, you know, he'll be in and out of the lineup because at that time we thought Reeves was going to play a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't happened. But yeah, great speed along the wings, and Kampf seems to have a little spark in his ass since he took a seat for one game.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah,
agreed.
I totally. It's funny. I went back and I was watching like some of last year's playoffs and stuff. Just on YouTube, and it's funny when you watch, because you think about Vegas and you think about Jack Eichel, and then you're thinking Florida and you're thinking like Matthew Tkachuk and stuff. But when you actually watch those games again, you realize how important Vegas's third and fourth line were, especially their fourth line. And it was and same with Florida, and it was a big reason for the Leafs. Like, they just didn't have the depth.
No. Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. Anyway, don't need to spend a ton of time there, but I thought you would be in the similar opinion as me I'm liking the fourth line, and I would be okay if they don't make a move there, but we're going to get to potential additions
and grit.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. And good hockey IQ too. They're all three pretty smart guys. I like that.
And they can score. I like a fourth line that can pop a goal in every now and then.
There you go. McMahon got the Leafs on the board tonight to tie it at 1. And then the Auston Matthews show, man. This guy, Matthews, with a sick goal to start the second period, in tight, incredible, just work down low right in front of the net front presence.
Patience.
For his 32nd goal this season. 2 minutes later, Chad, the Islanders turn it over right on the stick of Auston Matthews. He tucks it 5-hole.
Yep.
Right where you want.
Nice turnover.
You want to put it. Right where you want to tuck it. 5-hole between the legs of Sorokin, I think is who's in net for the Islanders there.
Nice turnover by Holmberg.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. He created it. Good.
Yeah, he created
good job on him. So 2 goals in 2 minutes for 34, his 33rd goal of the season, 4th all-time now in goals for the Leafs, only behind, tied for 4th, but with Ellis, but 4th all-time for the Leafs all-time goals, only behind Dave Keon, Daryl Sittler, and Matt Sundin. Matthews has 332 goals, Keon 365, Sittler 389, and Sundin 420. He's only 88 goals behind Sundin for taking over first spot. He could pass Sundin before the end of next season. It took Sundin 13 seasons to do it. Matthews can do it in 9 or less.
Wow.
just giving you a few things there. He's only 88 goals away from
he's gonna
passing.
do it.
Oh my God. I'm just gonna blow by it, man.
Yeah.
Like if he scores 60 this year, he'll pass Keon. He could pass Keon this year. He'll pass Sittler.
What's Keon at again?
365.
Okay.
Matthews is at 332. So, he gets 60 goals or a little more this year. He'll pass Keon this year. He'll pass Sittler and Sundin next season for fun if he stays healthy. So it's just incredible. And the guys on the TSN panel tonight were talking about in the intermission. I don't know if you saw it or not. They were talking about like him being, and you said it in the intro. So like they were talking about Matthews not only going down as the greatest goal scorer in Leafs history, which obviously he already is. He doesn't have the record yet, but it's a formality at this point. He will. There's no doubt about it. He is the greatest goal scorer that has ever played for the Toronto Maple Leafs. But what about the history of the league? They were comparing, like, since he's come into the league in 2016-17, he's just light years ahead of everybody, including Ovechkin, like everybody for goals. What do you think, man? Like, do you think there is a possibility here that, like, okay, does Ovechkin catch Gretzky? It's not looking that way now. Like, a major dip for Ovi this season, but could he pick it up still? And he might just play like Yager until he's fucking 45 just to get the record. Like, just kind of slow and steady, like 10 goals a season until he gets there. But, who's to say that Matthews doesn't, like, keep on pace with Ovi? And I don't know, like, do you think there's at least a conversation there, Chad, that maybe when it's all said and done, Matthews is right there as the best, if not the best, one of the best, right? But possibility in your mind that he goes down as the best goal scorer, not just in Leafs history, but in NHL history? I know that's a big hot take.
Yeah, he would.
But is it?
I mean, God, that's really tough when you look at it because, I would have said the same thing about Ovi back in the day. Like, there's no way when he was scoring at will, I would have been like, there's no way he'll ever catch Gretzky or whatever. But he's in the ballpark right now. He's in the ballpark. So maybe, if Matthews keeps scoring at this pace, if he's 50 plus goals, like year in, year out, it could happen. And if he plays a long time and stays healthy, a lot of things have to go right.
Yeah.
But I mean, he could get himself in, just like Ovi is, where he's within striking distance. But it's such a huge number, though. Like, it's crazy.
It is, but it's not that crazy.
Well, he's at what? 330 now, right?
333. 332, sorry, after tonight, 332.
Okay, so let's say...
Yeah, he's a ways away from 800.
Well, let's say he scores like 30 more goals, right? And then he gets 50 the next 5 years, 50 goals each season. He'd still be almost 300 away from Gretzky.
Okay, well, 5 seasons though. That's just going to put him at the end of this contract.
I know, but eventually you're going to dip like Ovi. You're going to take a dip, but I mean, he definitely is in the conversation if he stays healthy and does what he's got to do.
I think it's very much a possibility. Like it's a tall task, no doubt, but all the Leafs goal scoring records, he's going to absolutely blow past it. No one will ever touch it in the history. Like
they're already like Nylander, Marner, Matthews are already knocking out records that have been in since like the 60s and 70s.
They're going to hold every offensive franchise record, the 3 of those guys, but he will be at the top for goals scored. And it is crazy. It is crazy. I think it's possible. It's a lot of things have to go right. And, like Ovi still might not get there. And everyone's thinking like he will and thinking he was. And then all of a sudden a down year this year and whatever. Like Matthews will have a down year here eventually. But
he had one last year.
But who's to say like the next, 4-5 years in a row, like you just said, he can't. Why can't he keep popping 40, 50, 60 goals a fucking season? Maybe he goes bananas one year and pops fucking 75 or whatever, 78. Well, even goals.
I mean, Ovi didn't do that in his prime.
I know, but that's why I'm saying, like, should 34 not be in the conversation?
Yes,
I think he should be.
Yeah, he definitely should be. If he keeps on this pace and he gets just shy of 70 goals this season, after just having a 60-goal season 2 seasons ago, that's That's crazy. If last year's his down season, look out.
Did you see?
Look out.
100%. Did you see on the overdrive? Did you see the intermissions or no?
Yeah, I saw the second and third intermission.
You know, like how they won't, like Duffy won't give O-Dog the belt, like the quiz belt. Like it's a recurring theme. He won't do it. I think at the end of the season, he'll give it to him on like the last TSN broadcast. But tonight he was giving it. Cole Yakimo was doing the broadcast. Unfortunately, it wasn't Cheryl Pounder. We love Carlo here, but Cheryl Pounder, come on, let's be serious here. But anyway, O-Dog was like, give me the belt. He's like, you better give me the belt. He started chasing Duffy around the desk and around the studio. Did you see that?
I missed that.
Oh, it was awesome. O-Dog was chasing Duffy around the studio.
That's awesome.
I don't know if it was pre-planned or not. It didn't seem like it because they were all laughing so fucking hard. Anyway, love the broadcasts on that TSN does. It's just so far superior to Sportsnet. God, it's just so far superior, the work that TSN does on the broadcast than Sportsnet. Anyway, gonna throw something out to you here, Chad. McCabe and Benoit. Maybe tonight's not the best night to talk about this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. McCabe and Benoit. What have you seen there? Do you like that as a pairing? Would you be comfortable going into the playoffs with those two guys together? Is Benoit in the lineup for you in the playoffs? That pair, tell me your thoughts on that. Could that still be a pair in the playoffs, or is that just we're working with that now until Tree Living does something else? What do you think about McCabe and Benoit?
Yeah, I think we're working with that right now until Tree Living does something else.
So you would not be comfortable with that in the playoffs?
I mean, I'd be okay with it, but it wouldn't be my first choice. We're going to get to it later on. You're going to ask me what they need to add. And
coming right up.
Yeah, well, D is on the list. And I think it's a good pairing. They've been playing well. They didn't have the best night tonight, but they've been playing well. Benoit he's been really good, and I would be happy to re-sign Benoit at the same money he's making now because we're going to need it next season. But at the same time, when it gets to the playoffs, I want more than that. I want more than McCabe and Benoit.
But is that like, I mean, you look at Giordano and Liljegren, like they've been okay and whatever. But like, do you like? I guess what I'm trying to say here, like if they add a guy, and we're going to get to that in a second here on the back end or two, whatever. Like, is Benoit one of the guys that comes out for sure? Like it's not Gio, it's not potentially Liljegren. It's like, where's Connor Timmins? He's in no man's land. Yeah, this guy can't dress for a game. Like Keefe just will not do it. Like maybe back to back this weekend, you don't need to play Gio both games. Play him against Colorado on Saturday.
Well, Gio was just off for like a month.
Okay, but still, you don't need to play him on back to backs. We've talked about this now, like for 2 years straight. Like you don't need to be playing. You're just going to burn him out.
Last year was ridiculous. He never sat him, and he played him ridiculous minutes, all the time.
Like he's going to be burnt out come the spring.
He was last spring.
So I want Gio in the lineup come playoff time, but I want him to be at his
okay. Well, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with, like, I don't know what that has to do with Benoit and McCabe.
No. Where I ultimately was going there was like, would Benoit be the guy for you that would come out over, let's say, a Giordano or a Liljegren or whatever?
I mean, if you're talking just once in a while to give Gio a rest, no. But playoff time, yeah. Benoit's the guy coming out. All right, let's pump the brakes on Benoit. He's been good. He's had a good stretch of games here.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you're in game 7 of the playoffs, do I want Benoit or someone better than Benoit on the ice?
Yeah. But is Liljegren better right now? Is Giordano better right now? I guess that's ultimately what I'm saying.
In the last little stretch, Benoit, I don't know. It's hard to say on what metrics are you doing this on points? Well, then no, because Benoit doesn't really get any points.
Mustache, I think.
Mustache, yeah. Then Benoit's definitely. He's probably the best on the team.
Well, easy there. Easy now. Easy on that.
Best on defense.
Yeah, defense.
Okay. God, I didn't forget about the mustache that we all know and love, Tony.
Okay.
But yeah, Benoit McCabe, it's a good pairing right now. They're playing well. doesn't mean anything come playoff
Okay.
time.
Okay. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
For sure.
Not the best night to talk about that.
They didn't have a great night.
No,
McCabe
but I thought,
especially. Although he did throw Anders Lee into the net, which was nice.
Sure. I think ultimately, like, yeah, I'm not sure about the playoffs. I think they've done a decent job that pair together. I've liked them actually. I think they've matched well together, and I do like them as a pair.
Yeah.
Playoffs, not so sure.
You're playing the Boston Bruins in the playoffs.
Yeah, not so sure that's what you
I would
want
like to have a stronger defense core.
You want a stronger D is what you want. You need a more powerful, bigger D. I 100% agree.
It's hard to get in between the B's if you don't have a big D.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Now listen to this, Chad. The Atlantic Division, very tight. But I think the Eastern Conference is wide open this season. I truly believe that. I don't think there's a true standout. I like the Bruins. I like the Panthers. I like the Leafs. Carolina's coming on a bit. I like the Rangers. There's some things cooking, okay? Like, there's a lot of good things, but I don't think there's a clear-cut standout like this team's going to win the Eastern Conference. I'd say the same thing in the West, although there's a lot of good teams like at the top of the West there. But look, possible playoff matchups. Right now, it would be the Panthers and the Leafs. So let's just go with that. The Panthers could win the Atlantic, and, you know, it ends up the Bruins drop down or Tampa comes on. We don't know for sure what's going to happen, but let's just say it's the Panthers. If it ends up being Florida and Toronto in the first round, what do you think the Toronto Maple Leafs need to add? What does Tree Living need to do by the deadline or at the deadline so that the Leafs can win that series against the Panthers, or whether it's the Bruins or the Panthers, whatever? What needs to be done? What should be added for this Leafs team to – you look at the Panthers, hell of a fucking hockey team. Mm-hmm. Killing it. I love the way that fucking team plays. Love the way they're coached. There's not a lot about that team I don't like. The way the Leafs are currently formatted, I don't love their chances in that series. Do you? And if not, what do you think should be added to give the Leafs a better chance to beat the Panthers if that ends up being the first round match?
Yeah, it's defense.
And that's it?
You can add some forwards. You could add some grittier, maybe. I mean, yeah, you could maybe add some third line, fourth line guys. Like we said, I like the fourth line. I have no problem going to the playoffs with that. If you want to add another centerman, maybe like someone to center the third line.
Move
like
Domi to the wing.
Yeah, like last year was ideal. You go out and get a guy like Ryan O'Reilly at the deadline. Like that
I don't see that happening.
That ain't happening. That was perfect. But defense, yeah, I would really like to bolster the defense. 1 or 2 players and get everyone in the right position going in. So then you have guys like Benoit and ready to go and step in.
Yep.
But if I could just move everybody down a notch, like if TJ Brody could be your 5th defenseman instead of, playing top 4, that would be nice because Brody hasn't really had a great season. That would be my key thing. And Tree Living's even said that. He's like, this is what I got to do this year. I'm going to sign Austin. I'm going to sign Willie, and I'm going to bolster the D. Well, you did 2 of 3.
So I guess that's next. So
yeah.
I would jump in on that, and I would say I would add size up front, and I would add some size on the back end. Now, I'm not talking like full I'd be okay with adding one guy on the back end who's a stay-at-home guy and add somebody like a third-line player, kind of like you said, that can jump in with Domi and Yarncroc. Holmberg is not going to, he can, whether they trade Holmberg or Robertson or they're just like healthy scratches, you're going to need a bunch of guys if you want to go on a deep run. But I think a little size up front and some size on the back end. Who that is, yet to be determined. But Tree Living has also spoken about not really interested in trading Fraser Minton, not really interested in trading Easton Cowan. They're going to need They're going to need some guys like on entry levels going forward here the next couple of seasons. And I don't think he's super stoked about wanting to trade the first round pick. Like he's talking about wanting to restock the cupboards being bare, this kind of stuff.
Okay, but you can want to do everything, but you can't. You can't do everything. I know he says all that shit, and I'm like, well, you can't keep all your prospects and all your young players and all your draft picks and bolster the defense.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But I'm with you.
But I think
Robertson, Holmberg, you can part way. You have enough of that type of player. I said this before, And you gave me shit about talking about trading Robertson because you were like, well, what if he turns out to be a great player? I'm like, well, you have William Nylander signed for 8 years. You have Auston Matthews. You're probably going to re-sign Mitch. You don't need Nick Robertson.
No, I've come around on it. Like, I think
I would trade Robertson, Holmberg, guys like that. They're great. I like them, but you can replace them. And if you want size, like you say, it's probably better for you in the playoffs. Mix it up. You have enough speed and skill. Mix it up. Not Ryan Reeves.
Yep.
But like a power forward.
Well,
like someone who can skate and play in big. You know what I really liked last year? I really liked Noel Acciari.
Awesome.
I would love to have another Noel Acciari, like someone who's gritty, who can play third and fourth line, kill penalties. That would be awesome to add at the deadline.
Well, here's what you could add without giving up anything. You could pop him right on the wing on the third line with Domi and Yarncroc, and this guy would be an absolute beauty in the playoffs for the Leafs. And I'm talking about Corey Perry.
Oh, God.
Hide your moms, hide your sisters. Corey Perry's coming to town, folks. Where
isn't that supposed to rhyme?
I didn't even try to rhyme it there.
Okay, I think that's a rhyming thing you're supposed to do.
Whatever. I didn't even try to rhyme it there. What I am saying is you don't have to give up anything. No prospects, no draft picks, no nothing.
And he probably signed for league minimum because he got paid by Chicago.
100% league minimum, no doubt about it. Do the Leafs want to add something? Like we still don't even know what happened. Like we know what I know what I think happened, but like we don't know for sure what happened there. But there's a guy you can get, pop him on the wing. You know, imagine Perry instead of Robertson or Yarncroc instead of Robertson or Holmberg with Domi and Yarncroc. Like, man, there's a guy. Like,
well, whatever he did,
jam. He brings you the jam.
Whatever he did,
in more ways than one.
Whatever he did is gotta. I mean, the team's gotta know. It's gotta. I wish it would just come out so we'd all know. But look at it this way, man. The league investigated the situation and said, yeah, he's good. He can sign with any team.
Right.
So whatever the hell happened was not enough for the NHL to be like, because there's no, if they had been like, he can't play again in the NHL, people have been like, okay, well, he's however old, he's done everything he can do. It's time to retire. But the league looked into it and said, yeah, you can go play anywhere you want. You're fine. It can't be that bad.
He's available now. I say grab him. What says you?
I'm on the fence.
Dude,
I'm on the fence.
Not me. Bring him in. Let's go.
Well, it is a guaranteed trip to the Stanley Cup Finals.
This guy is killer in the playoffs. He will help this team in the playoffs as a third-line player. No, can play up and down the lineup. Heart and soul guy, leaves it all on the fucking ice. Leave the baggage bullshit off the ice. We don't know what happened, whatever. Will he help this team on the ice? Yeah. There's no doubt in my mind that he can and that he would. So hey.
You know what's funny is that like whatever happened in Chicago is so weird, but when it happened, everything I read from teammates and coaches and other people he's played with talked about like how great he was in the room and with like when he was an asshole to play against, but when he was on your team. So it's just something weird happened in Chicago. So yeah, the more I think about it, yeah, maybe I would take a chance depending on what it was that he did.
Just if I'm tree living, like you said, the league said he's good to go. So clearly it wasn't that bad of a thing.
Yeah, but you have to know what it is because you can't sign him.
Sure.
And then it comes out and you're like, oh my God.
Okay. So they'd be able to like a phone call to the agent, whatever. They can find out what happened. But like, look, like we were just talking about tree living, not wanting to give up like really the top prospects and like draft picks, whatever, like which he's probably going to have to like trade the first anyway, like potentially on the blue line, maybe not. Like he might be able to steal somebody for and keep the first, whatever. But all I'm saying is here's a guy, Corey Perry, that tree living can bring in that will help this team on the ice, and you don't have to give up anything to get him other than the cash. Do it. I'd be all in on Corey Perry.
We'll see. So, I bet it's not long until he signs. Anything else?
No, that's it for tonight, Chad.
All right. Well, we will be back this weekend, probably Sunday night after the Detroit game. We'll watch the back-to-back. We'll come back to the Detroit game. We are going to get into more as the playoffs to get closer, the trade deadline, all that All-Star game. We'll have more special episodes coming out. So
man,
stay tuned for that.
Next week is going to be great, man. Once we get into the games against the Jets and Vancouver and Edmonton, it's going to, I can't wait. Can't wait till next week. Some late games, so we won't be doing the podcast right directly after the games.
We'll do it the next day,
but I just can't wait for those games to see how the Leafs match up against the best teams in the league. I can't wait. Can't wait.
Going to be awesome for the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. Don't forget, follow us on social media at the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Hit like and subscribe and leave a comment while you're on YouTube. Tip In Podcast on TikTok, Tip In Pod on Twitter. Email us tipinpodcast@gmail.com. And until next time, I'm Chad.
I'm Dale.
And we will.
Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Go Leafs, go. We'll see you after the back-to-back against Colorado and Detroit, who will be playing net for the Leafs. There we go. There we go. Showing some love to the viewers on YouTube there. Chad's crazy stuff going with the computer. I don't know what's cooking there, but anyway, yeah, we'll see who's playing net against Colorado and against Detroit. Should be very interesting. Anyway, guys, we'll catch you Sunday night after the Detroit game. We'll catch you later.